to the explanation for the application form that you are submitting during week 3. Now, this explanation for the application form hopes to answer the question of what are the steps involved. You're able to see this opening up your quiz and or reading it here now. And also you have it as at the end of the syllabus. You have the steps and the questions that you're going to fill out. Let me explain it now. Question number 1 has to do with what is your church ministry, pastorate, volunteer member, or otherwise faith-based community where you are currently involved and the location of it. This assumes that you're working your Praxis project at your church. That's why there's an or. Or what is your church planting location? Assuming that you're doing a church plant. If you're not doing church plant and you're not working with your church, then answer what is the description of the location geographically of whatever project you're going to do, however you dream it. If you have no idea, call your professor 909-382-1912 ASAP so we can work it out together. Text me and I will call you, even abroad. If you text me via WhatsApp or if you text me via Facebook, I will respond and call you even if it's abroad that you live. But you must have control of this ASAP, submitting it by the 3rd week. You must know where the project will be. So you describe the location historically. Be specific to the area. Make it as small as you can that makes sense for the project. Don't talk about the whole city. Don't talk about, of course, you're going to mention aspects of the city when you describe a neighborhood, but you have to focus on a neighborhood, on an area. If it was to be that your location is online, well, still, the people that participate belong to particular neighborhoods. There are historical roots. For example, Facebook began at Harvard University with students of Harvard University. So you will describe that neighborhood and how the students at Harvard relate to each other, etc. Describe the location historically, describe the street where the location resides, describe how you feel towards all of the above. How does it feel? Be sure to use feelings, emotions. There are 5 words for feeling emotions. If you don't know what they are, find them via Google. Use words of emotions to describe this, to answer that particular part. Now, number 2, what is your dream? It does not mean that if your dream is a 500-member new church in downtown Phoenix in a neighborhood that there are no churches in a 50-mile radius, that by the end of the course you're going to have this. Of course not. What it means is this is the map of where you're heading to, the destiny. When you know your destination, then you're able to determine which steps you need to take to get there. But if you don't know your destination, you will never get there. You will be somewhere else. So describe that destination. Number 3, select a sample individual, so one person, from the church or church planting. So if it's not a church, then if it's a Facebook where you're going to plant a church in Facebook, whatever that means, and defining what that means is your project, then you will have to select one of the individuals that you will interact with in Facebook and describe his or her living relationship with the church, with Facebook, with whatever the locus, the location of your project, Praxis project is. Number 4, select a sample individual, a second individual, one person from the church or church planting program describing his living relationship, and there's an added part. This time you're going to focus, you see at the end, on the institutions of society. So how this person relates with the institutions of society. First, the relationship was purely with the church or the project. Now, society at large, because the church behaves, performs, responds to a society. Question number 5, you're going to select a third individual, and this time you're going to focus on the cultural myths, the living relationship with cultural myths, with mores. Mores has to do with morality. And you're going to talk about the social dimensions. For example, racism is a more, how people deal across races. That might be pertinent to your project or it may not be. Sexism, ageism, etc. The social dimensions, the myth that people have. For example, women are to be barefooted, pregnant, and at home. Ah. Number 5, select a sample individual, a fourth person. And this time, the living relationships, you're going to focus on economic dimensions, the myth, the mores and customs about economy. So, how are people supposed to live? There will always be exchanges that are economic in nature in any ministry in order to sustain the ministry. In the church of the New Testament, people gave funds, and God was interested in the stewardship and in the giving of funds. God was so interested that He interfered and killed two people, striking them dead because of their lying about the money they were giving. So the economic dimension must be part of the descriptions that you give. Obviously, you're not going to know it all, but you need to know some. And you figure it out by interviewing 4 individuals this far. A fifth individual, a sample individual, one person from the church planting program, describe her his living relationship, the myth, the mores, in regards to political dimensions. Political dimensions, should I explain it? Republican, Democrat, Independent, however people see themselves. If you have difficulties getting this number of people, by now we are 6 people, the legal dimensions, then ask 3 persons, 2 persons, 1 person, multiple aspects of the question. If you have difficulty finding only one, then ask all the questions to the one person. Ascertain the answers. It cannot be your interpretation and what you know. What you know is no good now because we want you to see your shell by seeing the shell of the other, the context of the other. We want, when you see the context of the other and you examine it, and the more others you examine, the better you understand context. That is why the optimum experience will be different individuals. But if it's not workable, use less individuals asking multiple sides of the question. After doing all the steps listed above, please relay your question, hypothesis, or issue you are seeking knowledge about as you move forward in ministry at your church or as part of the church planting program. Be specific, be clear. Talk about things that can be described and are observed, not about the intangible works of God and angels. So, for example, after you have described all of these things, then you may want to say, I need to find out if the church should be multicultural or follow the homogeneous principle. Well, uh, here in this point number 6, you're going to say the project will focus on determining what is the nature of the church that I want to plant. Should I be dreaming of a homogeneous group? Should I be dreaming of a multicultural group? And the previous 5 questions will be giving you insights into how you are going to define your project. Or your project may be where should I rent a location to start my church? Or should I do a church at a pub and ask the vendors or the owners of the pub, will they rent me the location along with their services of selling beer for Friday nights? Or would it be best Tuesdays? However you conceive it and dream it and the Lord is calling you to do. So here you describe what the project is, what you need to answer, what is the question you have. The social question you must answer to locate yourself in preaching the gospel. Identify a Bible passage that characterizes your project, research question, or ministry. Just one. So let's say I want to select the should I be preaching at a pub on Tuesdays, renting the location by means of me controlling who is there and what happens in the pub. So you're going to put a sign on the outside. Church at the pub tonight. Meet Pastor Johnny Ramirez-Johnson. Be friends and drink a beer. However you, whatever, whatever. Now, once you do that, what is the Bible passage that will associate with this? Well, perhaps you may think of one of the festivals, the Festival of the Tabernacles, and find a passage in the book of Numbers about the feast that they had coming together and eating together. And then you're ready. When I see this, I will give you my input and you will know if this is a workable project or not. And the Lord and us as a community will find the answer. Thank you so much for your attention. And remember, how far is the professor to you? The professor is one phone call away, one text away. I will call you back. Thank you so much. The Lord bless.